While the FBI chased phantoms in the United States, the Soviet Union sat on any evidence that might settle Hitler's fate one way or the other. There was one bit of evidence that could have sewn things up once and for all, the body that was found in Berlin. But the Soviets never looked at it again after the first autopsy of 1945. In fact, Hitler's remains, if they were Hitler's remains, were treated by the Russians with staggering neglect.
Их закопали так, чтобы уже в часы, когда население не выходит на улицу, это так было, такой негустой такой лесочек маленький, и поставили с такого скрытного часового. Пали, потому что они не глубоко были зарыты, значит, ну и чтоб собаки не раскопали. Вот, конечно, собаки тоже могли рыть, но такого не было зафиксировано.
In Spain was General Franco, in Argentina was Colonel Perón, and these, from Stalin's point of view, were both semi-Nazi reactionary dictatorships who supported the Germans. And therefore that is where he would have gone.
Stalin's belief was not completely unreasonable. Even before 1945, Argentina had a large German population. Hitler wouldn't be the first German to escape to South America after the war, and certainly not the first Nazi.
I found 300 confirmed war criminals who escaped to Argentina. Now these are people with court cases that have had court cases opened against them in Europe. Now, if you extend that to the amount of SS officers or persons who are suspected of having committed war crimes but did not have cases opened against them, that number would probably rise to thousands.
Alongside all the crazy theories and Hitler sightings inside the United States, a more persistent notion of Hitler's fate took hold.
The basic scenario of his survival was that a double had died in his place in Berlin, and he and Eva Braun had managed to escape to Norway and there taken a U-boat, a submarine, to Latin America.
This scenario took the FBI into one of its most remarkable inquiries. One of the reports that fueled their suspicion concerned the voyage of U-977.
We left Norway on the 6th or 7th of May. After we left Norway, we practically became a phantom boat. All the way around north of Scotland, past Ireland, past France and Biscay. They were looking for us and searching for us, and all we could do was on the listening apparatus to hear if there was anybody above us or near us.
This was a voyage that most people had thought physically impossible. U-977 made it to the coast of Argentina on August the 17th, 1945. The crew was immediately taken prisoner and accused of hiding Hitler on board.
Those U-boats came and surrendered to Argentina. The press reports there indicated that somebody in either Montevideo or in Argentina suggested that Hitler had been on those boats. And I think that that caused a number of people to say, well, we have to look into that possibility.
More reports of U-boat landings came into the FBI over the next couple of weeks.
September the 21st, 1945, reports of Hitler hideouts, Los Angeles letter to Bureau. The first sub came close to shore about 11 p.m. after it had been signaled safe to land, and a doctor and several men disembarked, and Hitler and 2 women. Another doctor and 7 more men said Hitler had suffered from asthma and ulcers, had shaved off his mustache, and had a long butt on his upper lip.
Argentina's navy tried to capture the U-boats, but the huge coastline made it easy for escaping Nazis to get ashore.
Llegaban hasta acá hasta una estancia perdida en la inmensidad y la desolación de la Patagonia, llegar hasta ahí, bajar lo que se pudiera bajar, la gente, las cosas que trajeran, lo que pudieran utilizar del submarino. Digamos, eran zonas no patrulladas, zonas donde las estancias daban al mar. Ahora, en aquel momento, eso eran estancias alemanas, con lo que queda abierta la cuestión de quiénes vinieron entonces en los submarinos y para qué planificar este viaje de los submarinos.
The FBI took this question extremely seriously. The combination of submarines and so many Nazis already in Argentina was enough to make the possibility of Hitler hiding out in the wilderness a genuine concern. The Bureau had received reports linking Adolf Hitler to the Eden Hotel in La Falda, Argentina. Nestled in the splendor of the foothills of the Andes, the Eden Hotel was the centerpiece of a long-established, wealthy German community.
Sí, era algo hermoso. Hoy a uno le da pena de verlo como está, ¿no? Esto era un hotel internacional, era un hotel que tenía todo lo que el pasajero necesita. De confort, la atención, orquesta a las 12 y a la noche. Y bueno, llegaban, venían grandes la aristocracia de Córdoba, de Buenos Aires, donde estaba toda la fiesta. Y duraba el baile hasta las 4, las 5 de la mañana.
Since the 1930s, the Eden had been a paradise for its predominantly German clientele. The hotel was owned by Ida Eichhorn, a wealthy German socialite, whose connections in Germany reached the highest echelons of power.
Sé que ella viajaba continuamente a Europa. Bueno, según se decía por trabajo para buscar pasajeros, porque acá venía la crema de Europa, venía aquí.
It was Eichhorn's European connections that first brought her to the attention of the FBI. A dossier compiled on her at the end of 1945 revealed disturbingly close links to the German Reich.
Even before the Nazis came into power, she placed immediately by cable her entire bank account, amounting to 30,000 marks, at Goebbels' disposal.
Most compelling of all, the FBI discovered from European sources that she had over the years become one of Hitler's closest friends and confidants. The area surrounding the hotel was populated by Germans. Amongst them were believed to be a number of Nazi sympathizers. The trouble was, it was difficult for the G-men to go to La Falda in person without blowing their cover.
We personally did not do surveillance work there. We would have sources that were outside the embassy that would do that. You just can't walk in and say, that you are looking for something. You have to develop a rapport and have some area of interest with the people that are going to help you on that.
A 17-year-old girl working as a maid at the Eden Hotel at the time is today still clearly able to recall her years of service and the people she worked for.
Y eso ya fue dicho siempre acá que ellos eran nazis. Ellos siempre lo han dicho que eran nazis ellos. Hasta el final, que ellos murieron, todavía le decían que eran nazis. Y ella tenía muchas cosas de él ahí en la casa, muchas cosas. Y hubo cartas que se le han entregado a Córdoba también, que las han visto. ¿Verdad? Había muchas fotos de él, todo en la casa.
According to the FBI, if Hitler had come to Argentina, this would be his natural destination.
If the Fuhrer should at any time get into difficulties, he could always find a safe retreat at La Falda, where they'd already made the necessary preparations.
Catalina Gamero confirms all the FBI's fears and suspicions. After the fall of Berlin, after the British investigation into Hitler's death, after 2 Soviet investigations, Catalina says Adolf Hitler came to the Eden Hotel in 1948.
Después de la guerra estuvo en la casa de familia. El hotel ya no trabajaban ellos, no estaban en el hotel ellos.
There is no doubt in Catalina's mind that she remembers Hitler's visit.
Bueno, yo lo que recuerdo de él llegó una noche, se ve que el chofer lo trajo, yo no, estaba en el 3er piso.
Catalina even recalls what Hitler ate.
Tuvimos orden de llevarle el desayuno, pero dejarlo en la puerta, golpear la puerta y dejar la bandeja. Comía bien porque lo que le poníamos venía vacía la bandeja. Bueno, ahí la mayoría de la comida siempre han sido todas alemanas. Lo que más se servía esos días era, suponer, los soufflés de queso, los kartoffelpuffer, como le decían ellos, con el puré de manzana, todas comidas más bien alemanas.
According to Catalina, the Hitler of the Andes was clearly recognizable as the Hitler of so many people's imagination, even though he'd lost his moustache.
Se ve que se los había sacado. Ahora la peluca sí, porque era una peluca lo que él tenía, no era pelo. 4 pelitos así, pero se veía que era una peluca. Era una casa que entraba gente todo el día, salían, pero eso fue privado, 3 días privado arriba. Pero abajo estaba como normal, como todos los días dentro. Eso no, fue como si no habría pasado nada. Fue una cosa muy, muy secreta, ¿vio? Muy, muy... Pero como ahora han pasado tantos años, a mí me importa un pepino. Y si no lo creen, que no lo crean, y chao. ¿Qué quiere que le diga yo? Yo digo lo que vi nada más.
Like all the best mysteries, Catalina's story has an enigmatic ending.
Y arriba del pan de azúcar había unas casitas alpinas que eran de madera, yo creo que no existen más ya. Como a los 15 días la señora me dijo que teníamos que hacer una visita. Y fuimos nosotros con comida, todo de acá, y estaba él ahí. Según lo poco que se hablaba por teléfono, él estaba en La Rioja. Y después desapareció de acá.
If the man Catalina saw was Hitler, the FBI certainly failed to get him. Yet the events that she describes took place when senior Nazis, men like Adolf Eichmann and Joseph Mengele, were arriving in South America. And it wasn't until at least the mid-1970s that American intelligence officers closed their files on Hitler.
Catalina Gamero was one of the workers in the Hotel Eden who worked for the Eichhorns since she was an adolescent. She told us that she served for 3 days a very special guest of the Eichhorn couple, Adolf Hitler. This was during 1947.
Estuvo Hitler ahí, sí. Estuvo 3 días, eso yo sí. Eso yo porque vimos los choferes y todo, el padre Mónica también, pero nosotros teníamos que callarlo la boca. O perdíamos el trabajo, y después lo agarré a Luis yo, y le digo, che Luis, cállate, me dice, no digas nada. Y si usted, ahí había foto de él, y después uno por más que no tenga video.
All right, Noam, let's go to the clip of the maid who served Hitler tea in Argentina.
Estuvo Hitler ahí, sí. Estuvo 3 días, eso yo sí. Eso yo porque vimos los choferes y todo, el padre Mónica también, pero nosotros teníamos que callarlo la boca. O perdíamos el trabajo, y después lo agarré a Luis yo, y le digo, che Luis, cállate, me dice, no digas nada. Y si usted, ahí había foto de él, y después uno por más que no tenga video,